of Bristol. I appreciate the opportunity to testify before the Joint Committee on the issues of mandate reform, a top priority of CCM. CCM strongly supports the proposed House Joint Resolution number 19, resolution requiring 2/3 vote to approve mandated municipalities and school districts. There are over 1,200 state mandates imposed on hometown Connecticut and their residential businesses, property taxpayers. Relief from some of these mandates is important to recovery of municipalities during the biggest fiscal crisis in recent memory. A constitutional prohibition would A, place the burden of proof on the state to demonstrate why the mandate is needed, and B, present the General Assembly with an issue of municipal reimbursement up front as an issue of enactment is debated. This needed reform would require General Assembly to inject cost-benefit analysis into debates on state mandates. Connecticut towns and cities emphasize with the state's fiscal problems. Municipalities across the state have enacted painful budget cuts and are making preparations for additional cuts. Deep cuts in services and massive layoffs have occurred in Connecticut's central cities. With the prospect of additional cuts and layoffs on the horizon, municipalities must provide services for residents depend on such education, public safety, infrastructure, and maintenance, regardless of economy. At a time when towns and cities are struggling to continue to provide needed services to residents and businesses, meaningful mandate relief is needed this year. Unfunded mandates and underfunded mandates are corrosive elements to deteriorate crucial municipal programs and services. And the bottom line of municipal budgets are the burdensome requirements and standards imposed by states and towns and cities that affect residential businesses, property tax exposures by imposing significant costs. Make no mistake, local officials do not question the merit of state mandates, such as special education, public health, recycling, usable waste, and clean water requirements. However, local officials object to the state does not provide funding to implement and deliver these mandates required and adjust certain state mandates to conform with current economic climates. What I did was that's my statement, but I brought a couple examples from my city in Bristol. Our police department was hit with a mandate requiring the national standard for sign retroflectivity by January 2015. In Bristol, we have approximately 2,600 signs. This is costing the city of Bristol nearly $90,000 to change all of our signs in town, with no help from the state. On our housing authority side, we have a mandate section 47A-42 from the Connecticut General Statute. This is on evictions. When a landlord evicts a tenant, if they leave any property there, the city then has to take ownership of that property and store it for 15 days. This year, we're projected to have a fiscal impact of nearly $7,000 to our budget. Last year was $6,100. Another thing that we have is relocation assistance. Section 8-266 and Section 8-273-1 through 8-273-41 on relocations. My administration has taken blighted properties very aggressively. We've attacked them, and we've gone after absentee landlords and landlords that just didn't care. Many of these properties have been condemned. In fact, during my administration, I think we've taken down about 29 structures, via houses, garages, and so forth. But when we deal with an absentee landlord who has tenants, we now are burdened with the relocation costs. This year, we're projected to spend nearly $55,000 in relocation costs to these tenants for absentee landlords. That is mandated that we take care of. On the Board of Ed side, that's the big ones. Our Board of Ed side, and I'm just going to read a couple things that I asked my superintendent to send me. Educational cost sharing. ECS grant is underfunded by an estimated $763 million statewide and growing per year. Based on existing reimbursement rate and funding gaps, the city of Bristol must cover more than 60% of the special education costs, which are increasing by approximately 5% each year. So that's a cost that's to our taxpayers of Bristol. 2014-15, Bristol mandated transportation costs for homeless students, vocational, technical, educational programs, and private schools cost Bristol $1.2 million. 2014-15 magnet school tuition for Bristol students attending CREC magnet schools in Bristol, approximately $400,000. So these are just a few examples of what our city has to go through during our budget process, and this is affecting money that we could put into our road infrastructure, investment in trying to bring businesses into town through other economic grants that we could offer. So I urge the representatives and senators to take action on this bill and help us municipalities.